Okay, Marcus, thanks for joining us this morning.
No problem, lovely rainy afternoon in English.
Nice sunny day in Britain,
Yeah.
If you just give us a brief history of where you've been and what you've actually done, and then we'll go into it a little bit indeed.
Do we have that much time?
We have loads of time, mate.
Well, I started off, I'm obviously American, went to university and got a scholarship, and it was coming up to my senior year, finished playing eligibility, and I was going to graduate in the spring and not 100% sure what was going to happen. And then the Sounders started back up before the MLS was even around. And I signed with them while I was still in school, and that's where my pro career started in '94.
And how much help did you have in them days? Did you have a local goalkeeping coach, or
yeah,
did your dad do it, or did your mum do it?
Well, in the beginning, I remember lots of times when my mom would be outside, "Mom, throw me the ball," and she'd be throwing the ball at me. But my dad ended up coaching me. He was my coach up till I got about 17, 18, and then we kept butting heads because of we're always together, and so I ended up playing for a different team. I think my last year, U19, but university we had a good goalkeeper who's played college soccer, and he was good. Never played pros or anything like that, but had the opportunity with Paul Barron, who's been around for ages. Yeah, and really good goalkeeper coach. He coached at my university's the soccer camp in the summer, which I started working at, and so I got a really good chance to meet Paul and hang out with him a lot, and that's kind of, I would say, where my career really took off.
So did he influence your philosophy on goalkeeping, or was it your parents influenced it, or?
I don't know. Obviously you get a lot from your parents, but I think that takes you to that level, and then having a chance to talk to Paul and meet with Paul, that takes you that next level. And when I was in the States, you have that. Okay, this is what we have.
Yeah.
And what was great is I had a chance to come over and train, and I went and trained with Sheffield Wednesday in '95, when Woodsy was there, Pressman, and then I think the next year I ended up going to West Ham, trained there in our off season, and then the next year I didn't have anything happening, and went to train at Villa with Paul, and you kind of really get a chance to get in there and see what it's like at top clubs, and this is what I want to do, and so everything was geared towards getting over to England. I just wanted to do anything when I was growing up, and that was one of the things that I think Americans we get more of a balance, is we all grow up doing lots of different things, and I think everyone keeps asking us, why are the goalkeepers, American goalkeepers, why are we so much more successful than the outfield players? And I think as we grow up and we play basketball, we play American football, we play baseball, and I think all these different things really help, playing in goal.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Later on,
eye-hand coordination, right?
Yeah, and you're really well balanced then, because you've done lots of different things, and I think it is a little bit more than that you also have the fact that the goalkeeper position in the States is more sought after, and is that
because it's on the older people like that?
No, it's because more of ice hockey, but
is it?
I don't know. You watch an ice hockey game, and as soon as the game's over, the whole team skates over to the keeper. They give him a pat on the head because they know they're keepers that kept them in the game.
Yeah.
Football. Oh, stick the guy who can't run in goal. Oh, he's terrible. Put him in goal.
Yeah.
And that doesn't breed good goalkeepers.
No. You never know.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to be somebody good at somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah.
It was like that. Is there a difference in the mentality in the States, though? For the youngsters, a massive difference in mentality? Because you always hear about the American dream, you can do whatever you want to do. Do you think looking at the kids you've got now around the club or that you've seen as goalkeepers different to the ones that you grew up in? Because you're giving a different message. In this country, we seem to be going, well, you can do it, but in America, it's like, yeah, you can do it, you'll push yourself. So you do a different mentality.
Well, and here, everything's dominated by the pro clubs and the academies and all this stuff. And in the States, it is a more, especially football now, is more of a middle class, upper middle class sport, where you're paying a fee to go and to join a club.
Yeah.
And, my friends were just over from Colorado. Frank, one of the guys coaches at the School of Mines, the university, and then Lauren, but together they run this club of 5,000 kids. And it's not even the biggest club in Colorado. No. But kids are, it depends what level as well, but they're spending thousands a year to be on this team. And then uniforms are on top of that. And then they're included as like one tournament, but a lot of these teams are flying places to play games. Youth team, because obviously the size difference in the States is massive. So you end up having to do it. So it can be up to, $10,000 to play on one of these teams, which is, pretty expensive, and it just the price kind of excludes some people, but they do scholarships and they do other things like anywhere else. But it is an upper middle class thing. But saying that, all these opportunities, if you have a club where they have, good coaching, because these coaches are now paid, so you can demand better coaches, and then and they're training more. Where now, my boys are playing on their local team down in Beckbury, Wolverhampton, with all their friends, but they have one training a week and one game if they're lucky. And it's difficult to push on to that next level with just one training a week. And you see them now, and they're at the age where they want to play more. And
do you think that's because of the number of teams here in Britain? So I would have thought there'd be more football teams here than in America.
No way.
No?
No way. Youth soccer is so huge in America. It's just massive. Yeah.
Well, even at their level? What's it better at their level than at the top?
I think at 11 and 13, I don't think there's going to be much difference. You're going to have a couple of kids maybe over here that are really good, but same in the States. But it's when they get to about 16. Because in the States, this is where the divide really happens. At 16, you get, one is that you get your driver's license. Right. So now the chasing the girls and all the other stuff comes in. And so a lot of people go, ooh, I think I want to go that way. But also you start getting into high school where the school sports, you have American football and basketball, which are much more popular. And kids, if they're as good as at basketball or soccer, they're probably going to go to basketball because it's more popular. They're going to get more girls. And that's what it ultimately comes down to. Where in this country, at 16, if you're a football, you're getting lots of girls. And that's it's all about the girls, really. Yeah. And the money. The girls and the money.
Do the Americans see the Premier League as an easy way to get rich quick? Do you think? Because some of the players here, when they're 13, 14, they automatically think about it. If they get a pro contract, I'm on 40 grand a week. Whereas I'm not going to, because the Americans are actually paying for their education, really, football education. Do they see that as a way of getting rich quick? Or would they see the basketball route being quicker? Maybe the baseball one?
I think I would still take the basketball, but saying that, now when I was growing up, I did play all the sports, and I was just so much better at soccer that kind of it chose me. Right. I was a much better keeper, and I didn't want to keep doing all the sports, and it was just at that age when you get to 16, you need to start to concentrate on a couple of things, and because I was going from basketball practice in the winter, coming home, and then on Saturdays I had soccer, Sundays soccer, and it was just crazy, my schedule. And I still wanted to go skiing with my mates on a Friday night, and I couldn't do that if I was playing all these other sports. And so the soccer kind of really, that's where it channeled all my energy into. And, I think most people in the States, and I know this has changed now a little bit, but I was looking at getting my education paid for, my university, and I thought, I got my scholarship, and that's it. That's as good as it's going to get. Right. I didn't really look into the fact that because the pro league at the time, that was there, you weren't making a lot of money. No. And so your college education was much more important. Where now, even the MLS, they're giving these kids, you can make over 100 grand. If kids are leaving early from school, which is it's crazy. Some of these 18-year-olds, if they leave early and they don't go to university, they get on this program where they make more money. And if they graduate, they might make the minimum. So then they're not in that program anymore. So then they might make the minimum of 30 grand because the league controls the power and there's no free agency in the States. So it forces kids to leave university early.
So what's the international? Did he go from under 14s up? You would say?
Yeah.
Did you ever get any part of any of them?
No, I got cut from the state team my last year, 16, 17.
Is it like over here where politics plays a great deal?
Yeah, I mean, there's always things involved, but I think, there's things that motivate people, and I think failure is one of those things that really motivates people, and it motivates me. And I mean, I like to win, don't get me wrong, but I hate losing.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference, yeah.
And I just do not like losing, and losing motivates me more than winning.
So how do you find playing games with your kids? Do you have to win against your kids?
No.
So I used to end up cheating against my daughter who's like 10 with me. I've got to win.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. What I struggle with is when they don't show the same intensity as me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, pay attention. And they're like, what? We were out playing tennis yesterday, and Maddie goes, you're a bit hard on Austin. I go, well, he's not even ready. I'm hitting the ball back to him. And then you see him and he goes, oh, I'm crap. And I go, you're not even ready. I hit the ball, and about 10 seconds later, he decides to move to it. And, he's never getting it. And
I always think it's quite hard for a parent, a sports parent, to be good with your kids in that way. When you're playing something competitive, it takes a bit, doesn't it, just to let go and go, well, it doesn't matter how good he is or how bad he is. It doesn't matter, let's just have a bit of fun.
Well, and because you take the intensity you have at training, and then you go, okay, we're playing in the garden here.
Yeah.
And that's for you, in the backyard.
Yeah.
But I still have that same intensity. And what do you mean? Come on, let's go. They're like, and he goes, they're only 11, I'm like, oh yeah, sorry.
It's quite big. I think lots of people think, oh, it's all the time, it's easy. But you do find out once you start something, you go, well, I want to win now. It's really hard to let go of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do find it really difficult at times. So going back to Reading then, talk us through your first season at Reading. What would be your sort of training week at Reading, normally for your goalkeeper?
Well, we didn't have our own training ground, so we went to a cricket club, where the kit was just thrown out on the floor, and it was proper old school, League Two, and it was pretty difficult, and but it was pretty good. I mean, being there the year before on loan was great, and then coming in, and I was on the bench for the first few games, and Phil, he was the keeper there. Was good mates with everybody. Organized all the nights out and everything. So some of the guys were a bit like they didn't like me there in the beginning.
Well, it's just quite difficult at times to walk into a club.
Yeah.
Where somebody's established.
But eventually, I got in the team and kicked on from there, and just had some great experiences with the guys, and Pardue was the manager at the time, and a great club, great little stadium, and the organization couldn't do enough for the family, and I think that helps. I think when the wives and the families are all settled, and that really kind of makes the whole transition with the team.
Just makes everything gel, doesn't it?
Yeah, and because you don't need, once you start getting cliques forming and things like that, it makes it very difficult. And so if that part of your life is easy, then the football is much easier.
Yeah. So what did you do? Did you sort of generally day-to-day, new weeks as a goalkeeper? Would you have a goalkeeping coach every single day, or would you?
No, I'm not sure if Nicky might have been there every day. I think at the time, and I think it was just Nicky Hahnemann, and he was there pretty much every day. Maybe there's one day a week he wouldn't be there, but normal stuff where you're with the goalkeeper coach for a half hour most of the time, and then out and then playing games with the field players. And
would you then go back after with the goalkeeper coach, or?
Sometimes you go back and do some crossing and things like that.
And would you do afternoons or not?
No, not usually. We would do. I don't think with Reading we ever did any afternoon sessions. No. Our doubles would have been weights, but we never really did double footballing sessions, which sometimes I think it's just too much mentally and physically if you're just standing around for long periods of time.
Yeah. So who designed your weight program? Was it you, or was it the club, or was it specific for your position? Or was it just a general like get in the gym and do what you got to do?
Well, at the time we had Now Clark, I think was there first. I mean, at Reading we had Now Clark and John Goodman. Were both pretty good, and they both did lots of stuff that I had done anyway. You know, because I did a lot of my power weights, power clean, squats, deadlift, things like that, which I think are really important. And you know, you go somewhere else, and you know, a lot of people that the meathead weights, we don't do that stuff. You know, but a lot of people did that. Everybody did their own the same weight program. Yeah. And it was pretty good. And then we did yoga afterwards, and you know, we did lots of kind of interesting things, and it worked pretty well. And then when John Goodman came in, everything we had then it changed a little bit. The goalkeepers, we did slightly different things, and
like what? For instance?
Well, we did. I don't think that outfield players. Some of the guys didn't like doing all the power weights, so they wouldn't do some of that stuff. And then, but like me and Federici would just keep doing it. Federici's a beast at the power cleans as well. Yeah, he loves all that stuff, and so that was a good situation for us to go in, because we could go in together and do things, and it was kind of when you want to do it. So a lot of it was left up to how I wanted to train and when I wanted to do it. And you know, as you get older, you can't just go, okay, I'm doing weights this day and that day, because some days you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna do them tomorrow. You know, I just do not feel right, and especially if you're doing something after training, if you have something set in stone, you know, you're just too tired to do it. Yeah. And you're not going to get the quality.
But then that comes with age, that comes with listening to your body and making a decision, not worrying about your decision either.
Yeah.
Because you get some people who've got to do it. No matter what, I've got to do it. Yeah. And then they worry if they don't do it. So they spend all their energy then worrying about what they don't do.
Yeah.
Instead of concentrating on that, listening to your body, which is quite difficult, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah.
Because you go in some training and you actually don't fancy it today. Because you get tired.
Yeah.
You go, right, I'm going to have just an easy day. But when you look at it from outside, you go, well, why aren't you training every day? Why aren't you trying as hard as you can every day? Well, I can't really, can I? It's impossible.
Yeah.
So you pick your days when you need to work and when you don't need to work, don't you?
But you don't want to be that guy who everyone thinks is just throwing it in.
No.
And that's sort of the problem.
You find a level where it's acceptable for everybody, and when you want to work, you raise above that level. Yeah. And when you don't, you just keep on that level, don't you?
Yeah, and tick over and get your stuff in, and you know, I mean, most of the clubs I've been at, you know, I remember, you know, the goalkeeper coach, okay, you've done enough, go in. I go, no, I'm okay. He goes, no. Yeah. Go in, go do some of your weights, you know. Yeah. Go in. He goes, we got the other keepers, we can do this. You know, you've done enough. You've hit the ground enough today, or you know, whatever. And being protected, you know, is great.
It's good for somebody to have that experience. I mean, some of my goal coaches just battered you. And if you weren't nearly throwing up, they go, oh, well, you haven't done enough yet. Let's carry on for a little bit longer. Yeah. But I'm actually at it. And you go and you think, that wasn't for me, that was for him.
Yeah.
And that's another problem I think we get when you're younger, is you get some people who are inexperienced and they think, and I know a few people who, if you're not sick in training, they don't think you work that enough. And I think that's a real problem in the country, especially goalkeepers. I don't think it's so much about outfield players. If the goalkeepers, if they don't work, they think there's something wrong. Instead of like, you've got to balance it all the way through the season, haven't you? Yeah. There's a time to work and there's a time to actually relax. They come and do the same session. I had one fellow who came and did this. We had 2 sessions, one was hard and the other one was hard. There was no in between. Yeah. And we just did one of them 2 sessions and it was hard. I think, well you haven't took into account what side season now. I might have just played 6 games, real heavy schedule, and now I've come into the first 3 week I've had, and then I'm battering it. Yeah. So I do think sometimes it's the coaches, how good the coach is to look at you and go, like, what's he done? Where's he been? What have we got next? It's just like, well, I'm doing this session because I get paid my 30 quid, so you're doing this session. And I do think sometimes, and I think your kids might actually find it, and they go to a club, it wouldn't matter if they do double PE in the afternoon, they still have to want to do the same stuff at night. They don't take into account what they've actually done in the day, do they?
Yeah.
And how much time they've had in between to eat.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing in this country I would love to see change, where they say, well, look, you've done double PE in school, there's no point in running at night, is there? Because there's nothing in your tank. You probably come home and have the sandwich and go straight out. Would that be the same in America?
A little bit. A lot of things are, really controlled. But I still remember when my first team at Tony Trisky, who was he played for the Sounders back in the old NASL, and if I say I'm a big goalkeeper, he was a little goalkeeper, and he was quick, and so everything we did was trying to get me quicker, But at that time I was still doing my power cleans and my deadlifts and things like that. And Tony wouldn't come out every day for training. So I wouldn't know when he was, so I'd just do and I went the night before back to the university and did all my weights and stuff like that. And next day came in and I could barely walk. And Tony showed up and I'm like, I go, look, I'm really sore. I did weights last night. He goes, okay. It was the hardest session ever. Do you know what I mean? No account into anything. The fact that I told him I did weights, he goes, well, I'll show him for doing weights. You don't need to do that. And, but he was pretty good, but he made me work sometimes. And so I never told him when I did weights anymore. I don't think he liked me doing weights.
To be fair, I did that with Hal Kendall. Well, I wasn't playing at the time, so I used to go on Saturday morning if I was sore. Do loads of weights, and I did all my weight session. And at 11:45, he said, "Do you fancy playing this afternoon?" Well, all right, and then we played Liverpool in the afternoon. I think, well, why didn't you tell me yesterday?
Yeah.
But it's just one of the things that they just go, "Oh, I've got a feeling today. Yeah, you can play today." So I think it depends on what your coach is as well, doesn't it? Yeah. Did your diet change from when you were small to actually when you become a pro? Or did you get much advice on it, or did you just like?
Yeah, I mean a little bit, and I think as you get older, the diet changes constantly because I think your metabolism changes, and when you hit 30, especially, there was this huge thing, and you went, okay, why am I getting fat here? And you go, I'm training, training just even harder now. And you're going, oh, wait a second, okay, 35 was another one, and where you just go, okay, I definitely have to change what I'm doing. And
once you get to 50.
Oh yeah, 40 in June, and things totally change.
Would you change that, or would the club change that? Or would you look and go, actually, I need some advice on this?
Yeah, and we have a nutritionist at Everton now, and he just goes, let me give you some ideas for food. Because ultimately people go, you footballers, you can't eat McDonald's, or you have to eat properly. And I go, well, yeah, at the training ground they have, the food at lunch, but then when you go home, they're not watching you.
No.
You can go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so this is the problem. And they can say do this, but you're going to do what you want. And he gave you this spreadsheet, and it was basically had a PowerPoint presentation that had a breakfast, good choice, moderate choice, and a poor choice. Yeah. Lunch, good choice, moderate choice, poor choice. Dinner, and then supper. So you have 4 meals in there, which you eat 4 meals, and good, moderate, bad. And the interesting part was because he didn't want you eating fruit in the evenings.
Right. Because
it's all sugar.
Right, okay.
And so fruit was good in the morning,
right,
or right after training.
Yeah.
But ultimately, no real carbs, and this is the sort of the PowerPoints that he would give all the guys who are, struggling with their weight or, injured. Because when all of a sudden when you become injured, you're still eating the same, but you're not training. You're not, especially for outfield players, you're not doing the amount of running that they normally do. So, trying to limit the amount of carbs that you're taking in is a big thing. And it kind of, I think maybe some stuff you think but you kind of go, well, yeah, fruit's healthy. I'm going to eat that. I'm going to have that instead of, something else because that's healthy. And then it turns out that, well, maybe all that sugar that you're sticking in your body right before you go to bed is just turning into fat, where it'd be better to have, some protein or even some nuts at that stage. And, and I think I've lost weight this year, just kind of
just tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah, tweaking it. And, don't get me wrong, I still have my free days.
Yeah.
I have those free days.
You have to. If there's some enjoyment.
Yeah, the Indian, and we can kill that, usually once a week. And I think that's important too, because if you just go on your own on a really strict diet, I don't think you can sustain that.
Psychologically, you need something else, don't you?
Yeah.
I think so. So what would you be in your normal routine on the match day now? So if you were playing tomorrow, what would you do? You get up in the morning, what would you eat?
Well, on a match day, I usually have scrambled eggs for breakfast, or an omelet or some sort of eggs. I seem to do better with protein. And something I learned early on was the fact that when I would carb load, they always say, have these pancakes or eat this pasta. And then I get about 20 minutes through the first half, and I would go, who's got that hot dog? Somebody's got something I want. I'd be looking around the stand because I'd be starving.
Right.
And I needed to have protein.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing for me. And so I ended up starting having a tuna fish sandwich. Was my pre-match. And with that, I stay full. I've got plenty of energy. I'm always fine. And I still will have a protein bar at halftime, half a protein bar or something like that. But I feel great throughout the game. And everyone's different in how they feel, and but
do you not think that you need more protein because you bash yourself about on the floor all the time? It's that impact all the time, isn't it? So you need to a lot more to protect your bones and that. So I think your body's natural reaction is to give me protein. Yeah. Don't give me carbs. Give me protein.
Well, your muscles need protein to rejuvenate and to repair themselves. And I think it's because I'm just a carnivore. I think is the main thing.
Well, I think goalkeepers mainly are all protein based and carb based though, because you have to be a bit of everything, don't you?
Yeah.
And the carb bit. Once you've got your initial fitness pre-season, I don't think you need as much carbs as the outfield players. You just need more protein.
Yeah.
Because you are more or less lifting your body weight every single day as well as doing your own weights.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no way we run as much as those outfield players.
No, you do most of your run pre-season and you finish.
Yeah.
And it's just during the season now and again.
Yeah.
But it's a different kind of fitness as well.
Yeah.
Going up and down is weightlifting really, isn't it?
Yeah, and then whenever we do something, it's a flat out sprint.
Yeah.
It's not very far, but you're sprint two.
Just so explosive.
Bang, 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 down.
Yeah, so explosive.
On the ground, up.
And I think that's why it's all protein based rather than carb based, don't you?
Yeah.
So when you go back to it again, how much mental work did you do? Did you have a psychologist? Did you have to sit down with your goalkeeper coach and examine your games, or how did you build yourself up and take yourself down to the games?
We did a little of both. I mean, in the beginning, it was just a goalkeeper coach, and we would talk about everything, the goals, and I'm really good at taking a situation and trying to look at it and go, okay, how could I have saved that? And because everything you can save, you just might have to be standing in a completely wrong position to save it. Yeah. If you're standing touching the post, then obviously you're not in the right position. Even the guy smashed it in 100 miles an hour. So being able to look at it and go, okay, how could I have saved that? And talking with a goalkeeper coach and learning from what you've done. Yeah. And I think it's important, like we do that as a group as well. When we were training, and by doing that, you're learning as well, but also all the other guys, especially the younger keepers. So, and goalkeeping is about making mistakes and learning, and that's by making mistakes is the best way of learning. But if you can learn from someone else's mistakes, or maybe not mistakes, but maybe something they could have done a little bit better, or what about this, or different ideas, then they're going to become better as well. And I think hopefully that passed on to that group. Because
if you've got a group, it might be the apprentice who comes up with the answer.
Yeah.
It's not always the pros, is it? That's what I used to like. I used to look at all the apprentices, and sometimes they'd say something, you go, actually, yeah, he's right. It wouldn't always be the senior pros. It sometimes could be the real young ones who look at it from a different perspective. You look at it from you get quite close as a senior goalkeeper, don't you? Yeah. Doing this, and then somebody might come on from the outside and go, because he's thinking a little bit different than you, and go, actually, why don't you just do that?
Yeah, and try not to get defensive too about it. But you can do that in a small group. Yeah. If you did that with the whole team, then you'd be like, well, why didn't you defend properly? Yeah. But if it's just the goalkeepers, you can talk about things and you know what, maybe I could have done this. And
And how did you build up for the game? So you get up in the morning. When would you start thinking about, say if we're playing Saturday now, when would you start actually thinking about the game? Say if we're playing Fulham on Saturday, when would you start thinking about the game?
What day is it today?
Monday.
Friday.
Is that when you start thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think you could plan too much. I think.
Would you plan? Say all right. So say we're playing Stoke. Would you because the way Stoke play, would you plan any differently for Stoke than you would for Liverpool?
Well, I mean,
in your head, I mean, as a goalkeeper.
I would try not to think about it. I mean, you know you're going to get bombarded, and I know we would be doing crosses, and we would do tons of crosses, and then instead of even just crosses, guys would be throwing the ball in, you know, to come out and try to do things. But I think it's, you know, you can put too much emphasis on certain things, and people think, oh, Stoke, they've got the long throw. They don't score many goals from their throw-ins.
No.
You know, and it's such a small part of their game. I know that, you know, with Rory Delap, he could throw it in so far. Everyone gets worried about it, and you'd rather give him a corner kick than a throw-in.
Would you try and change your positions for them games? See, like I always try to change my positions depending on who I played. So everybody, somebody who did a lot of through balls and then concentrate on. Maybe I think I might switch on and be a sweeper. If we're playing against something like Stoke, I think like, okay, it's not going to be a perfect day for me because I might not get everything away clean. But I might have to be a little bit more advanced and try and dictate to the thrower rather than the thrower dictate to me. So I try and stand in a position where he could see me.
Yeah.
And then he's got a problem saying, well, look, I can see him, he's going to be stood there. Do I still throw it in there? Or so you play mind games with it, or would you just say, well, this is my position, I'm in that?
I think one of the best things that I've ever heard Tony Pulis yell from the sidelines is we were playing Stoke at Wolves first half, and I'm coming for crosses and I'm getting munched. You know, guys are coming in and I'm catching stuff, I'm punching stuff away, and second half threw one in, caught it again, and Tony Pulis goes, would you get that away from the keeper? And I'm like, yes!
Yes, you've done your job.
Yeah, and I got, and now all of a sudden it was nice and easy.
Yeah.
Because everything was thrown far away, and
I think, but if you're young, and I look at some of the goalkeepers who are either young, inexperienced, or having a bad time, and you can see the difference in the positions that they take up against teams like Stoke, because you tend to go further away from the ball, thinking I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
It should have been like really positive, I think, going like, how can I affect that throw? How can I affect that corner? How can I affect that free kick? Do I change my position? Do I make him now do something I want him to do, rather than going, oh, there's nothing I can do about that? And he dictates to me then.
Yeah.
I try to do it on the other side of it.
Well, it comes down to your attitude and how you look at the situation. You can think, gosh, you know, if you're sitting there and going, I hope I don't screw up today, I hope I don't have to do anything, or you go, gosh, I hope somebody really tests me today.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready.
Yeah. But you know against sometimes where you go against teams like Stoke, or nowadays Wimbledon, where you know the ball's going to come into the box as many times as humanly possible. And you've got to say in your mind, well, I'm not going to be perfect. I can't possibly get everything cleanly. So I'm going to need the people around me. I'm also going to have to keep my composure, knowing that I might only punch it to there, but that's enough.
Yeah.
And it's a different attitude, I think, going into the games where normally against the other teams you go, I can catch that, it's not a problem. And you won't worry so much about being clean. There, I think sometimes there's a position where you go, actually, it's not going to be a good day for me, because it's going to be loads of bodies, and if I get my hand to the ball and it goes 10 yards, I'll be happy as Larry.
Yeah. And I remember that when we were at Fulham, there was in the program, they did a goalkeeper comparison, and it was Mike Taylor and someone else, and Mike Taylor had a 85% catch rate or something. I'm like, what is this, right? And the other guy had a 95%, and they were rating him on this. And I'm looking at it, and then Mike had come for, at the time, it was like 55 crosses, right? And the other guy had come in for like 4, you know, and you're like...
So statistics can tell you anything, can't they?
You're like, wait a second. So this guy's only, you know, this came for such a small number, I can't remember what it was. And so he's dropped 1, you know, out of all that. Mike has dropped a few, but...
He's come for more.
Yeah.
He's been more positive.
Yeah, and you think that's what you want. Well, that's what your team wants.
I think that's what it is, but I think sometimes when you're younger, it's just like people dictate to you. I mean, I watched the game the other day, in the 16 game, and the centre half dictated to the goalkeeper. I'm saying to him, look, I don't think you can dictate. You've got to dictate to the centre half. You can't be real new, you've got to rule them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an important part of the goalkeepers, I think, that you've got to dictate things that happen around you, not the other way about. I think for young, experienced people, it's really hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might come with age, but it also comes, I think, with mentality.
It's a difficult thing, and with corners now, and you have forwards standing on you, and you know you need to take up a positive position and not worry about what he's doing, and
you've got to focus on everything
and get around him and come get the ball.
So just focus on what you need to do. What you see a lot of them in the Premier League, they try and run about, and lose their mark, and they lose the fella in front of them. You know, what's the point? Because you can't see the ball then if you're running about.
Yeah.
You just concentrate on the ball, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where he is, as long as the ball's there. So I mean, as you get older, you become a little bit different, don't you, mentally? When did you think you sort of change mentally from being that really inexperienced lad to starting to actually think about everything and actually try to make really positive decisions, really? You know, before the games happen.
I don't know. I'm a pretty laid back person and personality, and you know, a bit different. You know, a lot of guys. I've played with some really wound up guys. You know, I think they're probably the ultimate one I saw yesterday, Stephen Hunt. You know, he's always wound up, so tight, and you know, thinking about stuff, and you know, I tend to kind of, we'll deal with it in the right situation, and but I think you know when you come over here, when you have more video analysis and things like that, you can start thinking about stuff, and now you know the video analysis guys we have are so good. You know, they'll get all the clips from the forwards. You know, they have all the penalties that they've ever taken. You know, they have all this stuff down, and so you've got so much information you can go look at, and you know, are they giving a lot of give and goes, and you know, and you know, everyone has their teams have their certain tendencies that you know some will bring it to the byline and cutbacks. Yeah. So you know those things we would work on a lot. And I know with Wolves, with Pat Mountain, he used to do stuff like that. He used to always look at the games we were playing. Oh, a lot of long range shooting. This team scores most of their goals from outside the box. So we'd work predominantly on that during the week. And you know, a lot of times you wouldn't even tell me but you could tell. You know, you didn't even have to look at the schedule. You could tell as soon as Pat started throwing the ball in like this. You know, we were playing Stoke, or we're playing a lot of little 1-2s in the box, and then you're moving your feet. You know, we're playing Arsenal. Yeah. You know, and.
Did you find the penalty information that good? So I always think that penalties are just a lottery anyway. And I could have my DVD and he's put the ball to the left sort of last 10 times, he put it to the right last for. Where would you go when you go at the end of the day? You don't know whether he's going to change his mind anyway, do you?
No.
So I know everybody they say has a favourite, but I think it's on the day.
I don't like knowing.
No.
I'd rather not know.
You just have that gut instinct where you think you should go.
Yeah, and then just trying to get a read on them, and people are like, well, if I have an idea that they can make up their mind beforehand, and they go, okay, I'm just going to go that way and be strong and make a positive decision. Now, some people really like that, but I remember one year, was it maybe Reading, we were on a bad run where a lot of penalties were going in, but I'm going the right way, and you know they were just good penalties, right in the corner. You know, you're getting little touches on them, but just nothing you can keep out. And the guy goes, "Well, let me give you a list of all the guys." Next thing you know, I'm going the wrong way every time. You're going to Villa, and you're diving and you're thinking, my little thing that I've got, I would have gone right, and it said go left, so I've gone left, and then it would have. So I'm like, don't ever tell me anything again. You know, I don't want to know.
So I don't see how that can be as much of a hindrance as a help, can it?
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm going to look at the situation, and then the fact you've got to remember which guys you looked at, because they've got 8 guys who've taken penalties. You know, or you know, some teams only have 1 guy who takes all the penalties, which it's a little bit easier, and you could go, well, okay, he's done this, and the last time he did that, or okay, maybe I'm going to go this way, and if you can use that and then look how he's running up, you've got some sort of idea. But I don't know. I mean, one of the games we had there were like 8 penalty takers. They had, you know, lots of penalties on them. I'm like, this is too much information.
Yeah, so you can overanalyze everything, can't you?
Yeah.
So would you rather just get rid of all that technology? I think for me, I wouldn't like to watch any of it. In all fairness, because once I'm playing against them once, that's it in my mind. I go, right, this is how we scored last time. This is what they did. I'd look at the corners, Because you can read where the corner's going to go anyway.
Yeah.
Look at the signals of what they do for the corners. And I just pick it up that. I wouldn't want to sit in front of a video machine or DVD and watch that all the time thinking, I could be out doing something else.
Yeah.
I would rather have someone where...
If it drags on too long, I think, and it's too much, then, I think you become pretty bored. You're not really paying attention anyway. I think it just needs to be short and sweet. And, we do a lot of video analysis at Everton, and the gaffer likes to give us all the information, and he wants us to be so informed on how they play, tendencies of guys, a little bit of everything, and then their set pieces. And I think the best thing about doing all the video analysis is just seeing how they set up on set pieces, because most teams have their kind of little routines. And if you could just kind of see it, even a quick glimpse of it, it is a little bit better than seeing it on a board, but, there are times where you're just like, you know what, we played these guys in the cup, we played them already, this year, played them, last year 3 times as well. Come on, they haven't changed.
No, or we should say they're not going to change on a day.
Yeah.
You might have actually sat down with you and gone, this is they defended our corners really well, we've got to change them.
Yeah.
So I think there's a time, so if you take that back to your lad now, was he playing goal?
No, not really.
Well, if he's
sometimes they do, sometimes they play on the field, but most of the time they play on the field.
Goalkeeping, how does he get his information? So I always think that if they play in the league on a regular basis, once you've played the team once, then for me, you go away and maybe write that down. I'm just thinking as a young kid now,
yeah.
He's got none of that technology behind him. How does he collect that information for the next game? Obviously, you try and think about it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Or would you write everything down? Would you want them that thought, well, he scored that goal like that, the pitch was like this?
I'm not organized enough to do that. If I did do that, I wouldn't be able to find it when I actually came down to playing that team again.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of, a way of giving some of the readers, because they're obviously going to be young,
and
some sort of advice to actually try and log their information after games.
Well, and I mean, like a journal type thing. It's a great way especially when you're younger, to keep track, because at that, most of the time when you're doing goalkeeping or any sort of activity when you're younger, you're the one controlling everything. And, now, I got Chris Woods, he's going through planning the whole week on what to do thing. I'm thinking about when I can get extra stuff in, but he's planning the whole week on what sort of training we're doing and everything. And all what I have to work out is when I want to get my weights in, when I want to do some extra cardio in and that sort of stuff. And then we've got a video analysis guy doing all that other stuff for you. And if you're not keeping track of stuff, I think it's what ends up happening is you go, you know what, I'm actually putting on weight here, or I'm not playing as sharp. And if you're writing down what you've been doing in training, then you can go back and go, oh, wait a second, I didn't do crosses for the last 3 weeks. No wonder why I didn't come for a cross that game. And so writing a log on training, and it doesn't have to be that great, just a little date. Okay, today we did, handling, we worked on crosses, and we worked on kicking out of the hands. And then you could go through and you've got a pretty quick and easy.
Would you, if you were younger now, would you do that for the opposition as well? Because obviously you haven't got all that technology behind you.
Yeah.
If I was 14 playing in the 14s league, would you keep a journal then of going, actually, we played against him, this is how they actually played as a team, these were their best players, this is how we scored a goal past me. And knowing what the pitches are like here, we say, well, the pitch was like this, it was usually like that.
Man, it'd probably be beneficial to do that. And, when I go watch the league the kids play in, they don't have many teams in that league. But you don't know all the players' names, which is the hard part as well. You don't know everybody in the league, but, they kind of, the kids, what's funny is you could ride in the car and you're not saying anything to them. And sometimes you could because the kids know what position I'm in, I think there's too much pressure. And that's one of the reasons why I think they don't want to play in goal. They want to play on the field because there's not as much pressure playing on the field because dad doesn't play on the field.
Comparisons, is it?
Yeah. And, because you never would once think that you'd ever see a Hahnemann dribbling somebody in the midfield, but you can see that. It's possible. There's just a 13-year-old and 11-year-olds doing it. But they know what's going on. They go, oh yeah, they've got this guy, and they remember that stuff. And so, for as well, as relaxed as I am, I think my kids are the same way, but they know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the other kids talk about, they got this one kid, he's pretty dirty, you got to watch out for him.
Yeah.
And remember, you could hear all this stuff, and they do remember.
As a goalkeeper, you think it's more important than outfield player though? To see all that information.
Yeah, a little bit. And you know how like I would use things to work on stuff during the week. It'd be really important for those younger kids who don't have a goalkeeper coach, who are you end up dictating your own training.
Yeah.
I think it's really important then, because you have to have
you have to have a base to work from, don't you?
Yeah, and
that's the hard bit, I think.
And I remember Dion Earl, who was a left winger for us in college at SPU. I called Dion up. I go, Dion, what are you doing? He goes, nothing. I go, let's go down to the park.
Yeah.
I had my net and we had a bag of balls, and he would just hit crosses and hit shots until for hours until neither of us could move, and that was our training. So you have an outfield player really train you.
It's always going to be your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your uncle, or your best mate.
Yeah, and anybody, and that's it's not perfect. It's not an official academy setup.
No.
But it's just as good as anything else. And if you're keeping track of stuff and you know what you want to do, and you have a base of some certain drills that you want to do that incorporate and things, and I have drills that I do when I have just outfield players doing stuff with me that I want to get some work, and I have this little drill where he's 5 yards away from me and I roll the ball to him and they're just side footers around my hands. And so it's a quick little roll, and then you have to get set, and then it's around you somewhere. And you do 20 of those and you're done.
Yeah.
And they don't need to know anything about what you're doing.
No.
Just hit it to here. And they won't hit it here. No. It'll be all around here, but you're working on your feet, and you get a pretty good workout for that, and they don't even know what they're doing.
So we've worked nice to keep that journal, then actually have a report on the game where you think you've done well, which I think is the most important bit.
Right.
Not so the bits that you've done well, but also the bits that you think
I need some work.
Well. Yeah, and then just try and get that as a base to work from for the next match. And over a period of time, you look back through that journal and say, actually, I've actually got better on that.
Yeah.
I still need work on this. And if you're looking authentic to go somewhere, you've got an idea of where you're at, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think if you're on your own at the moment, it's really difficult, isn't it, to actually go and play in the team and have nothing. It's really hard, isn't it? And mentally, it's really hard. I do think that's where we lack sometimes in this country, is the number of goalkeeping coaches. There's loads of goalkeeping coaches, but there's very, very few really, really good ones, I think. And they're so thin because it's really a new thing. Still relatively new, isn't it?
It's not a very important position, but it's actually the most important position.
Yeah.
But that's how most people feel. They go, oh, it's just a goalie. And I think people are realizing how important it is. You have a good goalie. You look at
6, 7, 69 points a season.
Yeah.
On top, at least, if you're any good.
I mean, look at Joe Hart, some of the games he's played this year. Man City definitely would not be where they'd be if it wasn't for him. He's been on fire.
Yeah, and to be fair, the lad at Swansea is the same. The lad at Swansea's done absolutely brilliant for him.
Yeah.
Even though, if you look at a goalkeeper in height, he probably struggle. If you were trying to sign him now, you'd be going to be 6 foot. So you're not going to sign him because he's not big enough.
Yeah. And I remember there's one game he gave away a silly, he went to roll it out to somebody or play it to somebody, he gave it right to the forward, just pounded right down his throat. And Brendan Rodgers came on and goes, no, what do you mean? No, it's how I want him to play. Just kind of blew it off. It was like, come on, no, he didn't mess up, and took all the pressure off him and let him get on from there. And because that's how they want to play.
Yeah. Well, that's good management.
Yeah.
Do you think it's from once you first started at Fulham, goalkeeping changed dramatically? Do you think it's got better? Do you think the standards got better? Do you think the game's changed? There's obviously less physical contact now, isn't there?
Yeah. Then when I first came in '99, I think, to England, and when I went to Rochdale, just the amount of times you just get absolutely mullered, in the lower leagues, it is a bit rougher, and but it's definitely not like the Spanish league or some of the other leagues.
No. Did you find when you went lower down, that you weren't quite sure what they were doing. So I found when I went lower down, if I shouted keepers, they booted it away. When I shouted away, they just left it go.
They did what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
No, actually, in Rochdale, they were all pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I would come for everything because they were just, you know, they would pump stuff in the box.
Yeah.
And keepers, and they were just like, yes, you know, because it's stuff they don't have to deal with. And they go, keep coming, we love it, you know. And no, it was great. And you know, I think the louder you yell, the more committed you end up becoming, and the more scared they get, and they don't want to get killed as well. So a lot of times they, you know, they will leave it. But there are times where I've come for stuff and I don't yell.
Yeah.
And the defender, you know, heads it away, and then he sees me there and he goes, "How come you didn't call for it?" I go, "I didn't want it." I go, "But I was coming, but I wanted you to head it, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want you to leave it either, you know. So I'm coming right behind you."
I think that's something else though, as a goalkeeper. Sometimes it sounds stupid, but you don't have time to call, do you?
Yeah.
It's because you just go like that and you concentrate on the ball. So the delivery's right and it's coming in really quick. Sometimes you don't have time to shout. And then if the defender heads it, they go, "Well, when you shout, you didn't quite have time." How do you not have time? But I think there's a time sometimes where you just can't shout.
Well, but people don't understand as well. They go, "Oh, keeper was scrambling there," and you're going, "What?" Because he took a step towards the ball and then he got set. You know, if you don't move from your spot and then just stand, you're never going to get anything.
No.
You have to take that. I think that one step. Oh no, I can't get it. And sometimes you think, a guy hitting the ball from 6 yards out, I'm not going to save it.
No.
It's going in unless it's hitting me. So I'd rather get close to him.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd rather come and try to put him off, and hopefully he hits me with it, or if not, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah, and you know, something's going to happen, but I'd rather be positive in what I do.
Proactive in what you're doing rather than reactive, really, aren't it?
Yeah, but I just think sometimes, I mean, a header from 6 yards out, I mean, you're not going to save that unless it's going to hit you.
Yeah. So going back to how it's changed, so it was rough and ready to start with. What has been the difference over the years? Is it the balls made a massive difference?
The ball, yeah. I mean, the balls now, I mean, the Nike ball is not so bad, but you play with those Adidas balls and the other balls, they move so much. And, you know, I mean, I think that's the difference in how fast they're moving. You know, the game has definitely changed because of the ball.
Would you say it's become easier as a goalkeeper or harder?
I would say harder, just because of the speed of the ball. But the game is less physical. So I mean, it's a different. I wouldn't mind that because I'm big.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, maybe some of these smaller goalkeepers wouldn't be able to play.
No.
You know, 15 years ago.
No.
But I mean, I think just the way the balls move. I mean, Adidas balls are terrible. You know, you put spin on them one direction and they go completely the other direction. And you know, you think they should move one way, and they completely move the wrong direction. That doesn't make sense to me. How you can make a ball that doesn't fly true, but I mean that's Adidas and that's the way they want to go with it.
Well, they want to see goals. They're not interested in saves. They want to see goals, don't they?
Yeah, but I mean, when the World Cup, you know, it was comical. Because you hit a cross in and no one could read the cross. Everyone's jumping up and everyone's missing the ball completely. So yeah, it deceives the keeper, great. But nobody can actually hit the ball either.
Do you think that's made a difference to the way you train? When you first started training to the way you train now? Or did you just get used to the ball?
I think you just get used to it. But you tend not to catch as much stuff. Yeah. Because you can't. Because the ball's moving all over the place and so much quicker. So I think the pat down. Yeah. I mean, so just controlling it.
I spoke to Shay Gibbon, and I said, well, why don't goalkeepers go towards the ball then? And he was saying, well, he prefers to get a bigger thing. And I think, well, if the ball's coming into you, usually it moves last minute. Why don't they move towards the ball, try and go at it rather than wait? So I think sometimes it'd be better to go and meet the ball rather than just wait a little bit for it to move.
Yeah, but it's just so much speed of these balls now. I mean, half the time the ball's past you before you even, you know, you see it, especially through bodies.
I'm just thinking about that. You know, that street line just moves a little bit. He's going up towards it that way, rather than trying to meet it, rather than waiting for it to move the last minute. I know, because I think the positions must be changing.
Yeah.
You must start playing deeper now than you ever have done before, because you're waiting for that movement at the end. So I think sometimes you might have to take a step back now, rather than be a little bit further out.
I don't know. I mean, you have what goalkeepers like Kirkland. He loves to be out past the six.
Yeah.
I remember when he used to. He hasn't played that a lot for a while, but he's probably the most famous guy for being as far out as he used to always play. Always be out past the six.
Yeah.
Actually, Wayne Hennessy, he has that same sort of style, and it might be their size, and they feel like they're not going to get chipped as much.
Yeah.
I think because of that, and then they've got the huge reach,
but the reaction time is less.
Yeah, and so it is a bit different, and I'd rather be in a more neutral position.
So I would say, I think now I look at goal signal, they should play a little bit deeper, because it buys them that time to react, rather than be a little bit for something. They say, come in your 6-yard box to know the angle now. I'm thinking, well, I wouldn't. I'll probably take 2 shots.
With the time of the ball.
Yeah.
The time of the ball is you can't buy extra time, and having
to do it though is to buy that time that way.
Yeah.
Is to stand a little bit deeper.
And it makes the ball does seem a little bit slower, and that's the only way to actually get that in.
So I think goalkeeping will change that way, positional wise, because of the ball. Because you have to try and buy yourself time. And the only thing you can do is play deeper. And I think even if you walked along the line, that's still giving yourself more time than being on the 6-yard box than 6 yards.
Yeah. No, it makes a big difference being able to see that ball.
Yeah.
And you look at guys, and they shoot from the 18 versus the edge of the D.
Yeah.
And it's not that much difference.
No, but
if you're out the D, you think, okay. In the 18, if they hit a good one, it's probably going in.
Yeah.
And there's that much. It's only a few yards difference, and that could be the difference between.
So that's why I think it's going to force the goalkeepers to put it on the line.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think it might. I think it's more difficult for you. I think if you brought up with the ball, like it is now, I think they might start being deeper. And if I was a coach, I'd be going, you don't need to be that far out, have you? Might as well just work along the line. If they're going to shoot, just work along the line. Because you've just got that little bit extra time. And I think the coaching might change, and the positions of the goalkeepers might change over the next few years.
No, it's all about moving your feet and getting in line with the ball now. And before you could get a good read on the ball from early, you could just take one big step and push, and now you've got to do 6 steps to get there, but because the ball's moving 8 different ways. And so it's definitely changed, I think, the way that the game is, and the crosses as well. I mean, how much bend can they get on the crosses, and how quickly they come in.
So do you think it's a lot harder for you now? Or do you find it easier when you started? Do you find it easier because of your experience, or harder because the ball's changed?
I don't know, when you're young, you're a little bit naive, I think, as well. Everything seemed easy when I was younger. But now, I think and the quality, the level I'm playing at now is much higher. Yeah. So that's a big difference. Where before people couldn't hit the corners like they can now. And now you go into a Premier League game and you see the level of corners that people, and where they can put the ball, and they can put it in the 6 and you can't come for it.
No.
And people go, it's in the 6. And you go, I can't get that.
No.
There's no possible way. Because about 4 different people can actually hit the ball because they hit it that low and that good, where before it used to be just clip. Yeah, I know. There's only one place they can get to.
But that goes back, when commentators say it goes back to young kids, doesn't it? If you're a young kid growing up now and you're trying to be a goalkeeper, even the balls for the A player got later.
Yeah.
But the coach goes and says, we should come for that 6-yard box. And the goalie's going, well, I can't. He said, well, you should do. So it can put the younger ones in a real funny position where it's always been drilled into people 6-yard box goalkeepers, but it's not always, is it?
No.
It just can't be.
No.
It's just impossible for you to get everything in there.
Or the one that everyone always likes to yell at the keepers, or the ones that get deflected somehow and go straight up.
Yeah.
And you're moving one way, and then all of a sudden it gets launched straight up, and you're back here, and then you're coming back, and you're going, can I get that? There's bodies in the way. No, I'm going to stay. Let them deal with it, because they're not going to score initially on the first one.
No.
And I think that is what people don't understand. They go, well, you could have got that. Maybe, but then the little bloop header that bounces 4 times scores. Yeah. Where I'm not 100% sure. And also what it takes is to get blocked off by one guy, even your own guy.
Yeah.
which, has happened to me a few times. Because you go up for it, you get crunched by your own guy. They don't see you coming, they step in your way, and you go boom, and you go flying the other way. And, sometimes staying at home is the right decision.
Yeah, it's about percentages, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is the most effective for you in that situation? Because you can't get out of the textbook, can you?
No. And when you get it wrong, you see this ball that goes over your head and bounces and goes in about 2 miles an hour, and everyone's going to say, "Where's the keeper?"
That's why I like coaching books, because coaching books never tell you how to make a decision. They just tell you how you should do everything, but they can't actually give you that information.
Yeah.
When you make that decision, what is the decision? Because you live or die by your decisions as a goalkeeper, don't you?
Yeah.
And the younger you are, then probably the more you make mistakes. But it's a learning process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's great to read all the coaching books, and it's great on a nice sunny day, looking for the ball top corner, you can catch everything, but decision making makes all breaks a good goalkeeper, doesn't it?
No, that's it. I mean, that defines a keeper.
Yeah.
And someone told me, an outfield player, he goes, "You know what? The difference between a good goalkeeper and a great goalkeeper, because a good goalkeeper will save everything he's supposed to, right? A great goalkeeper will save everything he's supposed to, and then pull some stuff out of the corners.
Yeah.
But a bad goalkeeper is one that saves stuff in the corners, but then we might let in the ones that he should save."
Yeah.
And that's how I've always tried to build myself as a goalkeeper, and to put myself in a situation that I'm going to save everything that I should save. And so you work on all the bread and butter stuff, and it becomes boring. And because you're constantly working these same drills, but your guys in front of you who are playing, they know that ball's coming in, you're going to save it.
Yeah.
99% of the time, you're going to hold it.
Yeah.
Unless it's moving all over the place. And the only way they're going to beat you is if they stick in the top corner.
Yeah.
And if your guys in front of you go, "Yeah, I can live with that."
Yeah.
Okay, let him shoot from there. He's going to save it.
Yeah.
And you get a good relationship with with the guys in front, your back four especially, and it's amazing how you can work together.
Yeah. Well, once they trust you, it's just about is really getting the basics right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get all the basics right, make the right decisions, and if you work even harder and harder and harder, you will get the others.
Yeah.
You will make them special saves, won't you?
Yeah.
But unless your base is wrong, right, you won't make the saves, will you?
No.
Your base has got to be right to give you that platform to do everything else.
Yeah.
If the base is wrong, then you don't do it.
No, but the keepers forget that. They forget the fact that if you're making the saves that you should save, right, and the ones that go in are in the corner, it's a lot different than if you make some spectacular save and the ball rolls in the goal.
Yeah.
Because your guys are going, "What are you doing?" But when the ball goes in the top corner from a good shot, that's a good shot.
You've got to accept that.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's things you can't do, so you accept that.
Yeah.
And then you look at it again and go, right, next time I want to try and be able to save that. So your standards go up, don't they?
Yeah. And how can I get that? Well, if I move my feet to here and then, maybe
Yeah.
And you try stuff.
Yeah, I think. Did you have any heroes when you were growing up? Goalkeepers?
Like Schumacher, I used to watch him.
Yeah.
You and Bruce Grobbelaar.
So it's black and white telly, was it?
Yeah. Black and white. 16-inch. And then like Casey Keller and Friedel.
Yeah.
Those were guys that, you thought, you know what? They've done it. They've got to England. They're playing over there. That's what I want to come do. And I remember watching, I saw Liverpool at Leicester back in their old stadium.
Yeah.
Sitting in the Liverpool end, I got tickets from Friedel. I'm watching that game and I'm like, this is it. This is what it's supposed to be like, a tight little old stadium. Absolutely fantastic.
So where did you see, you're coming up to 40 now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself going, and what would you like to do? I suppose it's easier to ask you is, what would your ideal scenario from now on would be for the next 2 or 3 years?
I think I want to finish up playing somewhere. And, I don't know exactly what's going to happen next year yet. And we've got one more game left of the season. No.
In an ideal world, what would you like to do? If you could choose anything you could do for the next 3 years, what would you do?
Besides fishing?
Yeah. Or mountain climbing, or tennis, or flying.
Yeah, or aerobatics. Soccer-wise, I don't know. I thought it'd always be nice to finish up my career back up in the States in the MLS.
Yeah.
And
do you think that's a realistic possibility?
Yes, but
or will you have the same trouble as I have when I got to 40? When you go and try and play somewhere, they go, "Oh, he knows a lot. he might be a threat to my job. I don't think we'll have him this time.
Yeah, you don't know. I could have gone to Montreal in the MLS, which is still 8.5 hours from home.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to do that. And if I could get to the Northwest, I think the Seattle job's kind of filled, and I'd love to go back to Seattle, but it was just my hometown, and it almost doesn't matter what you make if you're living at home.
No.
And that's so it'd be nice to do that, but I don't know. We still have no idea what we're doing. No flights even been booked home for the summer because still undecided on kids' schools. There's so many things, variables up in our lives that
We'd still like to play.
Yeah.
And what level would you consider playing? Would you go to League Two, for instance?
Well, no, I think because I think the lower I drop here, then I might as well go back to the MLS and play.
Yeah.
And that would make more sense because then I get the kids in the American school system where you think you're probably going to end up anyway. And but I think championship is championship or Premier League. I mean, I don't think you can compete with that in the MLS unless I get a team up in the Northwest somewhere.
And what about coaching wise? Would you like to finish your career playing and then go into coaching, or would you just go and do something completely different from football?
I think ultimately I was talking with my buddies as well who are just over here coaching and about doing some camps in the summer and going to these different clubs throughout the U.S. Maybe have a month and we do even 4 different clubs and going and coaching at these different clubs and then moving on to the next place.
And what do you think you could give the kids who you're going to coach now? How different would it be to the Marcus that started out?
Well, I mean, the chance to, at the time when I was growing up, we didn't have anybody who really played.
No.
And the only guys we had to look up to were all non-American. And seeing Paul Barron at the camp, who was out coaching us, who could give us, oh yeah, he played in England, he did all this stuff, but it didn't seem so real. And I think me, somebody who's even cut from a state team when I was 16, 17, would give these kids a hope that they could do whatever they want to do, and for the American dream.
Yeah.
To think I'm turning 40 next month, still haven't worked. I still haven't had a job.
Well, he's had a good job, to be fair. He had a good job, good career.
But
it's been a good career for you, hasn't it?
But I feel like I've cheated life. Get to 40 and not have
Well, you get to 50 and your body tells you that you have worked.
Oh yeah.
Then you'll know when you've worked.
Walking down the stairs, sometimes I feel like I've worked, but I really feel blessed of the career I've had. And
once you finish, you'll actually realise how many people you were actually affected. So funny enough, I went to the cup finals on Saturday, and I sat in the Chelsea end, and you can see what it meant to people. And sometimes as a player, you don't get to see that, do you?
No.
How much you can actually influence as many people as that. I mean, there was probably 40,000 Chelsea fans, and because they won, their whole lives were turned.
Yeah.
Even for that one day, and there'll probably be more kids born in London this weekend than ever before. So you can affect people an awful lot.
Yeah.
And once you finish, Marcus, you're the best goalie ever because you never remember your mistakes.
Yeah, I still don't remember my mistakes when I'm playing. That's how I keep my confidence up.
So you like to go to coach? Would you like to go into club management? Would you like to be coach in the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, I think maybe
just because you're so laid back, you're just going to drift whatever happens.
Yeah, a little bit, and maybe we've always been set up to go back to the States.
Yeah.
We've got the house up in the mountains, and you think that is where we're going to be.
Yeah.
And so, it's hard to even look outside that. And that's probably one of the things why I didn't want to go to Montreal. It was a good situation. Montreal's a great city. They've got a good team. I knew the head coach and the manager. I think it probably would have been a good situation for me to go back to. But I've always had in my brain that I was going to go back to Seattle to retire. And so the fact that I was going to a different team and not Seattle, and it was still 8.5 hours away, I'm not doing that.
So would you think about setting up your own academies for goalkeepers?
Yeah, or just maybe even, because there's so many kids, and if you do something like that, you're kind of set up for just a limited number. Whereas if you go and do camps at different clubs, you think of all the different kids you can affect, and you can affect more kids. And I know it won't be the same because you'd be having the day-to-day interaction with them, but I think ultimately you'd be able to affect more of them. And I think that would be important.
And what about coaching the USA team?
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any age group?
Yeah.
So I think that'd be. See, I look at some of your experience. I think it'd be an absolute waste for you to sit time and do nothing.
You know, well, the funny thing, when I was in Colorado, Dad came up to me after a training ground. Our training ground was open. And he came up and he goes, "Hey, Marcus, I was wondering, do you do any coaching right now?" And I go, "No, I haven't. You know, and I just moved to Colorado. I did some back in Seattle, but I haven't done any here." And he goes, "Okay." He goes, I go, "Well, what age group?" And I'm thinking 16, 17-year-old boys, this is going to be awesome. You know, get some really good kids who really want to learn. And he goes, 13 and 12. And I went, oh, okay, get them when they're young, you know, but obviously they're keen, right? So we can get them, teach them the proper technique. And I go, okay, leave yourself an out, because if they're terrible kids, you want to get rid of them and you don't want to do it. And I go, oh, yeah, well, you can try a session, see how it goes. And I don't know, like the time commitments and stuff. And he goes, the girls will be so happy. And I went, oh my gosh, I'm doing goalkeeper training for 12 and 13-year-old girls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a nightmare this is going to be. You know, you just think they're going to be sitting there talking, you know, doing their hair and all sorts of stuff. You're like, oh great, this is going to be terrible. We get there and these girls were awesome. And then they were so good. And Chrissy ended up she got a scholarship to almost just about any school she wanted to go to.
Right.
And this is a couple years of coaching with me. And then obviously she progressed from there as well. But you think that's changed someone's life, you know?
They can have an impact on their lives.
And it's absolutely amazing. But the girls, I was dreading it in the beginning, but they actually listen.
The girls are more mature than the boys. And if they're there, they want to learn.
Yeah. And the boys, they think they know it. They know it all.
There's a difference.
These girls were just like, yeah, okay, try this. They go, okay. They didn't go, why do we have to do that? They just did it. Great.
Brilliant, mate. That's fantastic.
Cool.
Thanks for that.
No problem.